I've met probably now 150 people who've been tarred and feathered by various bad actors who bore very little consequence for their tarring and feathering. And every single one of them, including people who I would have regarded as some of the most brave and emotionally stable people I've ever met, and I've met a lot of people, have reacted to that pillorying and social exclusion and appalling mobbing with about the same degree of severity from the psychological perspective that they might have experienced had they been diagnosed, or a close one to them diagnosed, with a fatal illness. And one of the things that I did uncover more as I was investigating your situation and your husband's situation is that your team has made the claim that Mr. Assange's mental health has been severely compromised. And I find that highly probable. Virtually everyone that I've talked to who's been through a tiny fraction of what you guys have been through has some variant of post-traumatic stress disorder as a consequence. And that might only be a university professor who's faced 3 or 4 allegations of some kind of ideological impropriety in the student press and a local newspaper, and maybe a peripheral article on a state or national level. And then the developing mistrust of his peers that goes on for a couple of months. Compared to what you guys have been through, that's a tempest in a teapot, but that's enough to really, really bring harm to people. And it's part of an indication of just how serious this culture of unwarranted accusation and weaponization of the investigative process really is. And people who are listening might think, well, who cares? This is Julian Assange. What's the probability that something like that will happen to me or anyone I care about? And I would say, the way things are going, the probability that that may happen to you is increasing dramatically. But even more particularly, the fact that it's happening to many people and extremely publicly is already making you muzzle your willingness to speak freely and act truly in a manner that's so pernicious and pervasive that you can hardly even imagine it. And so for every one person that's persecuted successfully on the reputational front, like your husband, there's probably 10,000 people who decide that it's probably just better to shut up and take it. And that really does pose a signal threat to the integrity of a state that's predicated on free association and free expression. So it's rather appalling, to say the least.